So there's something you may think is happening a lot more than it has in the past. It's actually no different than usual. I realised this with in my research of what does alcohol do to the body, and I start seeing lots of different videos of don't touch alcohol, it's poisonous, and I agree, it is poisonous. The more I've researched what alcohol does, all it does is just take from you. I mean, it does chill you out in a if you're like feel like you're overly stressed. You might enjoy the moment with an alcoholic beverage. And this video isn't so much about what it does; it's how our brains work, regardless of what we're doing. But this was like, I was looking around, it's like, oh, it seems to be a new trend, and I think I even mentioned it on some videos that this is going to be a new trend. It's not a new trend, not really. I realise what's going on is it's the same thing when a cousin of mine was pregnant. Suddenly, it seemed like there was women all everywhere getting pregnant. It's the same thing when I had my first mobile phone, that specific mobile phone that I wanted, and suddenly it seemed like everybody had that specific one. And part of the ego of me was like, oh, you know, everyone, wanted to kind of feel a little bit special. But if I'm honest, it was a great phone at the time. It was like a tiny mobile office. Of course, this was before the advent of Android and phones and flat phones, smartphones, so on. They were beginning to get smarter, but they weren't actually smartphones. So what's happening there? Whatever we do, we see more of. Because our world is a reflection of what's inside somehow, but why? These things suddenly appear just because you're doing it? No. They've always been there. We notice more of that, what we are focusing on, if it's important to us. Particularly if we feel emotionally it's important to depending on how important it is to you internally and what you associate. If you're really thinking about this in other ways, whatever, you're going to see more of it. If you just did something that was superficial, not too deep, you might not see so much of it. You might notice a little bit more of it, but not to a larger degree if it was more depth of thought and like getting healthier. And this is why I ended up seeing, because I was searching YouTube videos on this, so I'd see more YouTube videos. But how many of those videos would I really notice in the suggestion amongst other things I would click on in the suggestions of the algorithms saying, hey, you search this, therefore you're interested in this, And I hate that in algorithms, because, it gets taken too far. It's like, can you imagine a world where you go to a restaurant and you eat a particular meal, and a waiter or waitress might say, you enjoy your meal? I say, yes, thank you, and that's fine, and then you're left alone. But you don't want a waiter or waitress come over and say, because you ordered that, you probably want one of these and this, and you go, no, get out of my face. I want some me time if you're on your own, or some private time with your partner, to sit in that comfy corner with a nice lighting. You don't want customer service in your face all the time, and this is what I hate about the internet today. But this does fascinate me we're so trained in society to be desensitized to what's going on in ourselves, because we're distracted from that, because it's always attention on the outside is hammering our senses with buy one of these, eat one of these, and come and join this and subscribe to this via the internet or whatever, or sales talk in your face, get the best deal, buy one get one free, and this, and we got no time to understand how we're responding and why we're responding and how much of a slave we are to this automation that's hammering us, a desensitization, overstimulation of the senses. You get a quiet enough moment to practice things like meditation. You start to see what is going on within you because of all this being slammed at you. It's like you buy a particular car. Suddenly you see in that car everywhere you go. You think, oh, I got one of those. You buy a particular coat. I got one of those. Oh, that's the same phone as I got, so on. Because it's in your awareness and you're doing it. You're training yourself to be to notice these things more because it's part of your life anyway. If it's not part of your life, then it doesn't get prioritized in your brain despite it actually being there. So this begs the question, just how much do we block out because of overstimulation? And it's very annoying with some people's lack of awareness of their surroundings, that when you work in retail, kind of like treating the tills like an information desk. Come in, right by them is printing paper. You got any printing paper? Or when we get diaries and calendars in, it's right by the tills. To my right, if I'm, to my right, yeah, usually to the right of me at the tills. Got any diaries or calendars? Go and look first. And that's not to be dismissive of customer service. It's like, it's so damn lazy. But sometimes people want the easy, quick fix because they're so damn stimulated with all this stuff they're trying to remember and do and whatever. They want a quick cop-out. At the same time, on top of that, is we live in a instant gratification society. I've had people come in, a chap come in 100 plus years old. Very rare thing to happen, but where's such and such? I say, I can see you're struggling. Let me go up. Because where's this thing? It was upstairs. There's 2 floors. And the company is trying to get every store on 1 floor, but it's not always doable because other places that we wanted, the companies had idea of taking. Well, landlords are asking too much money. Agreed poisons everything, right? Regardless of that, somebody that always said, no, you're fine. You got a job to do. I can do it. All right, if you're confident enough that you can do it. And somebody in their 40s, 30s, 20s, going, oh, those are upstairs. Oh, I can't be bothered. And it's like, as you're saying, well, we can go up for you. If it's relatively quiet, I can. If it's really busy, I can't always just do it. And it's they're gone out of the shop, impatient before, and it's crazy, I think, some of that. And yet I call myself the most impatient person I know, but I don't do that stuff in a shop. I never have done, but even more so now since I've been working in retail, knowing some ideas how it really works. I mean, I really do look first before I ask questions in shops. So I'd be ashamed if it was right in front of me. Where's such and such? And it's right in front of you. And people do this. It's standing right by the calendars and diaries. Where's the calendars and diaries? It's unbelievable. But then desensitization, overstimulation, the shop is rammed with product. There's no gap or space at all, which I never really liked that, but that's what the company does and wants to do. Doesn't like gaps and so on. And sometimes it's just a mass of colour. Can't see for looking. Even staff. Sometimes we're trying to put products out. Where is it going? But we do have what they call planograms for this. Many shops have what's called a planogram, and that's like where you're going to put stuff. But head office will say, that's your planogram for your shop, but not every shop has the bays where things go exactly the right size, so you've got to improvise. It was easier without planograms, but most shops would have some kind of plan to put things out. Regardless of that, it's a desensitization, overstimulation, moving us away from what is already inside that controls what we think is important to us. Like, it's the same with dreams at night. You're going to dream about things that you've been concerned about, worried about, or you enjoy, what you are looking forward to, what you're actually working on. I was talking to a family member the other evening, a few days ago, about what I did in school. I was really proud of. I wrote this story. It was like it was coming up around Halloween, and write this spooky story. And the teacher read the whole story to the rest of the class eventually, and she let me carry on with it once the rest of the class was ready to move on to other things, because I didn't know how to end it. There was other things here and there. She knew I had something in here to put down, and she was interested to see where this went, and she was like happy with the result, reading it to the rest of the class, and I was sat there so proud. But talking about that night, I had a dream about haunting a place. I can remember little bits, but because if I never had that conversation and thought back, that wouldn't have been my dream. And dreams are very cryptic. They're all a bit weird, but when you really think them through with critical thinking, there's always some kind of reason or reasoning you can come up with as to why you dreamt that. Like, I dreamt something like a haunting, like banging on a wall, but you look at the other side of the wall, there's nobody there, but the wall itself was banging. There was bits, I can remember bits of the other night where I dreamt, because of the conversation. What you're seeing, what you're experiencing more of right now, if you're doing something brand new in your life, a particular thing, you're going to see other people talk about that particular thing, whether it's through the internet or you hear about them people in person. You're going to pick up more on it because that's what your focus is on. There is no sudden change in movement of people quitting alcohol any more than it has been previously. For every person quitting alcohol, there's somebody else taking it up. Anyway, you walk by in the UK, if you walk by public bars, there are always a bunch of people coming and go, regulars, daytime and nighttime, drinking, right? Taking alcohol out of your routine, though, I think is extremely beneficial, providing you're not alcoholic. Then you need to be weaned off it. A sudden stop, from what I've been reading, could be temporarily disastrous for some people. But that's what addiction does. You crave these things so much that things go way out of balance. This is what a craving is, though. Things already out of balance. And learning a lot about this, and the brain tries to ramp up its usual functioning to get around the suppression effects of alcohol. When you suddenly take it away, suddenly there's too much going on in the brain. With neural connectivity, some people actually, if they're so bad, they're actually not drinking too much, but actually drinking way too much. And a alcoholic, it's like drinking every day, a sudden stop, some of them actually start hallucinating. And the sleep patterns are all out of sync, the body's metabolism, but all out of sync, the body's ability to gain the proper nutrients from food, all out of sync in the presence of alcohol, the toxins, the process of the liver trying to detoxify your body from alcohol actually produces some toxins itself, the process itself. So we have to be careful with toxins building up on toxins. But the point is, I thought, wow, looking around and looking at information, I think this is probably a good thing. More and more people are quitting alcohol now. It seems that way because I'm doing it, unfortunately. And sure, enjoy life. Make sure that whatever you do is enjoyable, but it's not too much of a detriment after the enjoyment. There's always a deficit, right? And alcohol really does, it may seem enjoyable in the moment, but it really does take a lot from you, I think. And I may quit altogether, or just a tertiary rare drink sometimes, depending on the situation. I'm not gonna seek it. I never really sought it out before. It was just part of a routine, a habit. The only way to stop a habit is do something different in place of, replace the habit. Because again, we're going to notice a lot more and do things that we're focused on a lot more when we focus on them. So trying to stop something causes you to focus on it, ending up causing you to do that thing more. Like, or if you're craving something, you try to ignore the craving, but trying to ignore it focuses your mind on the craving. Instead of that, let the craving be your cue to go and do something else instead of having that thing, that big cream donut or that alcoholic beverage, whatever you're craving, right? But this is always fascinated me a little bit, is how our world is sometimes as we are. The world isn't as we are, but our world, internally, how we perceive it, is as we are. And people project a lot. People who smear name call other people, claiming they're doing something without any evidence whatsoever or proof of, it's because it's what they would do, you know? There's a lot of that over the internet with certain socially dysfunctional nutters, particularly through sites, platforms like YouTube. And this is when people tell you who they really are. There's a saying that once they tell you who they really are, believe them. And I don't think people really understand that statement much. And they think it's something else, or they use that. But really what it is like when people are telling you who they are, 9 times out of 10, it's via them saying what's like the likelihood of other people doing a particular thing. You know, it's what they think is a likelihood of other people doing a particular thing. So when people say, praise other people and say, oh, that's great, good, maybe they would like to have achieved that or think it's a good thing to do a certain thing. When they say, that's bad, hey, you're shitty, you're this and that, and there's no proof of it, there's no evidence whatsoever that you're doing this one thing, it's because it's what they would do, because where does it come from otherwise? Where does the notice of other things come from if you weren't doing it in the first place? Because that's where it comes from. Your focus is on that thing. Like this phone. A number of people I know got this same phone. I would never have noticed before. It was just, I talked to them in person. And how long you had that phone? Oh, I had this one a few years. All right. I only recently got mine. I didn't know you had one of those. It would be like that. That sort of thing. Yeah. I bought a flask. A work colleague brought in a flask the other day. Oh, you got a flask as well? Yeah, I always bring it in. Never noticed before. Yeah. Different flask to what I got, but it kind of proves the point. We bring into our awareness more of that which we've already deliberately focused on and brought into our life and therefore into our awareness. We notice more of what we've been focusing on. Nobody's that unique after all. Just because I'm doing an experiment like a month, maybe more, quitting alcohol doesn't mean that nobody else is. Most definitely they're going to. But you start to notice it more. So I look through YouTube now. It's like, quit alcohol now. Somebody's making a video on it, and it's a channel that is health orientated. My channel, not this one, the other one, is now more health orientated. So I'm gonna, it's because what I'm searching, right? And it's doing a bit of research on YouTube, doing a bit of research on other websites to gather what I think might be the most credible sources of information to make my own conclusions and then write up about different things. And certainly the mind does interest me. So there's always been throughout my life, because forever and a day I've been interested in meditation, the mind, and so on. There's always something that I've noticed of like meditation techniques or mental exercises or mental tricks you can do to cope better, how to cope with anxiety. It's all inner awareness. You can take that too far and become extremely boring to yourself if there's too much awareness going in and you don't really notice what the hell's going on the outside of you. You need the balance between the two. Peace out. Thank you very much for watching. Take care. I hope this made people think a bit. Is what is there in your life that you're noticing more of since you change something, you're doing something new, and you're thinking, oh, so-and-so's doing that as well, or more and more people are doing this. No. It's no more or less than it always has been. It's just you notice it more. Cheers. Bye.